Good morning. It is April 3rd. Hard to believe it's actually a Friday. Stuck inside theoretically. Of course, as I've said, we're an essential business, so I am at my office. You can see I'm donning my orange suit today. Hopefully everybody's doing well. We'll cover the main issues. Obviously, COVID-19 spreading not unexpectedly. It's spreading in my eyes pretty much the way we expected it to. It looks like, or I would hope, maybe. Obviously, that's still yet to be determined. In the news, interesting articles have come up that have said that we don't actually know if the counts from certain foreign countries are even accurate to how many people have died from the disease or were diagnosed with it. Like our own country, we don't have hits. Back to family and everything, we are all doing relatively well. Lots of changes have been happening for us. Obviously, being a small business owner, already in a business that's very tough to maintain. One of my clients has closed their offices for COVID-19, and once the ban is lifted, they will be closing most likely permanently. And they're a significant part of my income. My wife, on the other hand, works for food service for the steakhouse and for one of the hospitals, and they're using at the hospital, they're using the slowdown for the virus to cut labor, and so she's been drastically cut hours, and like all other restaurants, the other side of it, she's been cut hours there as well. It's kind of ironic. Lots of ads from Uber Eats and Grubhub, or specifically Grubhub, saying how we should be calling to support our restaurants and keep them open and make sure that we take care of the waiters or the staff that take care of us. It's kind of tough to think, we're trying to protect them, but at the same time, what's happening with our own businesses. On the flip side, I'd like to be a little more optimistic than pessimistic today, and have kind of a little pep talk in my little conversation here. The stock market sucks. It's going down mostly because of fear. Most companies are not going out of business, therefore don't understand personally why we continue to have runs downward on everything other than it's kind of the chain reaction, follow the leader, et cetera. And then electronic trading also kicks in. It's not good. Obviously, the people are pulling money out of the markets, out of even their gold possessions, because they believe that cash is the way to go. And I think we are starting some runs that are unnecessary. Personally, I have not moved a whole lot of money in and out of the market. I'm going to obviously have to wait for recovery to gain back some of my losses. But I am very optimistic that this too shall pass. It's happened several times since I've been investing, and it's just unusual because this isn't being caused by war or economic downturns, although technically we were probably headed for one anyway, because as most people say, when a market goes up or anything goes up, gravity eventually pulls it back down, and that even applies to the stock market. Anyway, so that's just my personal opinion. Other interesting news, our president tweeted out about 3M overnight, because apparently they're not necessarily shipping first come on their production of masks to the United States. They seem to be trading or taking highest bid type and shipping out. I don't want to sit here and say I know all the facts. I would just say that to educate yourself, you might want to follow what's going on with 3M and their masks, but it brings up other issues in supply chain within the United States. And so it's kind of interesting because it's hard to find masks in stores, but yet if you go to Amazon, there's tons of them. And a lot of the so-called vendors that have them, even though they're showing their stateside, they're not US companies. And in the discussion on Squawk Box this morning, they kind of were talking about the fact that there aren't a whole lot of distributors for products like the masks and places that sell them. And in my own industry, computer industry, it's kind of interesting when it comes to parts too, because it seems like I'm buying parts that are made in America, or at least owned by American companies, shipped to China, back to the United States, and sold through small places on the West Coast. I think it's called City of City of Commerce or something like that. And it turns out that that's a place where a lot of Asian companies have set up to warehouse and sell product. It works, I guess, but it seems to be a very limited market. If that's true for other products, it might explain why sometimes it's really difficult. Another article that you may be interested in, or piece of news, if you go back to early to mid-February, Procter & Gamble put out a statement discussing the fact that about 17,000 of their products are made with parts from China and the Pacific South, and that there was going to be supply chain disruptions possibly because of the COVID virus, because either the products are made solely in those countries or they're assembled here but need parts from there. Just kind of interesting news to take a look at. Anyway, that's kind of the update for the day. I hope everybody is doing well. I just wanted to let people know that I think we need to take our own action and help turn this thing around. I know that we're limited because we're not supposed to be going out. We can't do certain types of business, but at the same time, we need to start showing some positivity. I think one of the worst things is that we just are bombarded endlessly in the news, similar to when we had 9/11 for weeks and weeks and weeks. Most of the time you heard nothing but negativity. And, I know that it's hard to say this in the time when people are getting sick and dying, but at the same time, we need to try and keep that stiff upper lip, I guess would be a phrase, and try to move forward gradually as much as we can, and try to gain our own independence on ourselves to a certain degree. Yes, the government is supposed to be here to help us, but year after year, month after month, president after president, we've had failures in our systems, and hopefully we're going to learn from some of them as we move forward. Don't want to make this a political conversation, so I'm not going to. I just think that we need to be more responsible for ourselves a little bit. And again, I'm not even sure how to be at this point, because like I said, with our businesses locked down, in some cases, it makes it difficult. And I really do appreciate and understand what it means to not have income coming in, or very, very low income coming in. And hopefully we'll figure out a way to band together and change that. But the key thing is we need to, start figuring out for ourselves what to do, because trust within our government, regardless of who it is not always what we think it is. I hope that people agree with me or disagree with me, but don't get upset by my conversation. And we will update in the future. Love everybody, and I hope everybody's doing well. Thanks.